The loss yesterday to the Baltimore Ravens is not as bad as everyone is making it out to be. And I feel this is kind of exactly what the franchise needs right now. And I know that sounds crazy, but stay with me here. I think the Jets checked off a lot of boxes on a deeper level. I understand we lost by 13 points. I understand the season is lost or has been lost for a while now. I understand we're not 2-9. I get it. But the young player production from this team and the competitiveness that they are playing with, whatever Aaron Glenn is saying in the locker room to these guys is working. Because I would think it's hard to motivate a team that has absolutely no possibility of making the playoffs. But whatever he's saying is working because they are playing hard. The Ravens started the season off 1-5, and they are in the process of digging themselves out of a hole. They have a vested interest in playing hard and winning a lot of these games as the season comes to a close. And the Jets, in my opinion, put up one hell of a fight. The 23-10 score is not indicative of how that game went, in my opinion. You were already 14.5 point, underdogs. The Jets led at the half, which they haven't done that since week 1. They went the longest stretch in a game without trailing, a full 36 minutes in that game. They were either tied or they had the lead until, the Ravens, kind of woke up a little bit there and it took over. But, the Jets outgained Baltimore by 41 yards. It was 282 to 241. The Jets were better on third down, 4 of 11 versus 2 of 11. They averaged more yards per pass and more yards per carry. They only had one fewer first down, 15 versus 16. The numbers suggest that they played better than expected, better than I expected. The loss of the game is really because of some very specific plays, some very specific turning points. The first one being clearly going for it on fourth down. I believe it was in the third quarter, and you're on like your 40-yard line. I don't understand why Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn, I get it. You want to be aggressive. It's a 4th and 2. And he says he had trust in his defense to hold the Ravens to at least a field goal if it got down to that. Clearly they didn't. I believe they went in for a touchdown. And, the whole situation of the season has to work into that decision. Again, you're at that point, you're 2-8. You're playing a tough team. You're going to have to pull out a lot of stops if you really want to win. And I do believe Aaron Glenn is trying to win. But if you don't go for it, it's not like it's going to ruin the whole season, right? This loss is not going to change the direction of the season. So, in-game decision, yeah, it was a bad decision. You should have punted it away. But in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. It is a reason why they lost the game. But in the grand scheme of things, going for it there didn't change much. And then you have that fumble by Breece Hall. Halfway through the fourth quarter, the Jets are driving. If they score a touchdown there, the score is 20-17. Unfortunately, Breece Hall, in my opinion, is just trying to do too much. He's trying to get more yards after contact. He's trying to be Superman. He's trying to put the team on his back. And the Ravens made a good play and ripped it out. It's not like he was holding the ball badly. It's not like it got popped out from a big hit. He had 2 hands on it, and 2 defenders basically ripped it out of his hands. It is what it is. And I'm sure he feels bad about it, but it's not something that I'm going to crucify him over. I'm still going to be probably trying to extend him. I don't blame him for the play. I think he's trying to do too much for a losing team, and it just didn't work out. Some players that played really well. Jowon Briggs has played out of his mind lately. Harrison Phillips playing out of their minds lately. I don't know if it's the better coaching that that the Jets have now, but Darren Muji bringing those 2 guys in has been key, and has actually helped the Jets. Derrick Henry, the rushing game in general, only averaged 2.9 yards per carry. That's with Lamar Jackson, a running quarterback, and Derrick freaking Henry. And you don't have Quinnen Williams on that line anymore. Jowon Briggs and Phillips stepped up and they were able to stop the run for most of the game. The defense in general played really well. I think that giving them that short field and coughing the ball up giving them that short field after the fourth down and Breece Hall coughing the ball up just kind of threw the game lopsided the game in the Ravens' favor. If if we punt it there on that 4th and 2 instead of going for it and missing it, you're not giving up a short field. Maybe you don't give up a touchdown. Maybe you give up a field goal. The defense looks better on paper. I think the defense played really well. The secondary played pretty well. There were certainly 2 instances that led to touchdowns, pass interference. I believe one was on AZ Mitchell and another one on Tony Adams. Tony Adams is just not a very good player. I'm not sure why he's here other than he's a filler guy because we don't have anybody else to play safety. The secondary played very well. Lamar didn't have many options to throw the ball. Zay Flowers didn't get really involved until late. And 2 touchdowns were given up after big chunk penalties on pass interferences. But in general, AZ Thomas and Brandon Stevens, I think, played a really good game. I mean, Hall had his moments. He had some really nice long runs. And John Metchie, he's a football player. I really like what Metchie brings to this team. And he came from a trade. He didn't come from those big trades that we made at the trade deadline, right? He came from the Eagles when Michael Carter II was sent over there. He was like a throwaway piece. I mean, the Eagles have A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. They figure they don't need this kid. And he's had a hell of a story. I mean, he had a great season his last year in Alabama. I think he put up something like 1,100 yards, had 8 touchdowns, something like that. You can double check the stats for me. Ends up having, at the end of that season, a non-contact ACL injury. Spends, the whole offseason rehabbing, gets to training camp with the Texans, I believe it was, and is diagnosed with leukemia and has to go through cancer treatment. He ends up getting moved to the Eagles, crowded wide receiver room, and probably, I mean, it's a cancer treatment. I mean, that takes a while to come back from. And in the last 2 games, John Metchie has 2 touchdowns. I can't ask for more. Could he become a wide receiver too? I don't know, but he is certainly a slot wide receiver 3. Absolutely. And they need to do whatever they need to do to keep him on the team next year because he can play. Adonai Mitchell, he's still coming along. In the All-22 film, you can see him getting open all game. He's another player which I think is going to help out the wide receiver room. And it's only going to get better when Garrett Wilson comes back. If he comes back this season, we'll see. There'll be more opportunities for these guys because you're going to have to start double teaming. You're going to have to start paying attention to Garrett Wilson. It just goes back to the basic offensive principle of having more weapons is better. Metchie and Mitchell combined for 8 yards, 1 touchdown, and 107 yards yesterday. I can't ask for more. Tyrod Taylor played pretty well. The O-line played extremely well, picking up multiple blitzes, giving Tyrod time to throw the ball. The offensive line has played well all season. Tyrod and Justin Fields have combined the most time to throw the ball in the entire league. So anybody wants to go out there and say the O-line is not playing well, that's just not true. They have all day to throw the ball. Tyrod was able to, he's a veteran. He can go through his reads. He can find the open guy. He can do the checkdowns. He can slide in the pocket. He can do everything you want out of a quarterback. And when you have Justin Fields in there, not only does it stunt your wide receivers and Breece Hall and the O-line, it stunts all their development, but it stunts the development of Tanner Engstrand as well. And when you put Tyrod Taylor in there, all of a sudden the offense opens up and it looks really good. They would have had 17 points. It would have been 20-17 if Breece didn't fumble that ball. The offense was moving the ball. The offense looked competent. You looked like a football team. And this is with guys like Menchie, Adonai Mitchell, Arian Smith, Mason Taylor, and Breece Hall. No Garrett Wilson. I don't have, much more to say about the game itself. It was a loss, but it was a loss for some very specific reasons. So specifically, Breece's fumble, and specifically going forward on 4th and 2. The defensive pass interferences did not help that led to touchdowns. But the game, if you take those two instances, the fumble and the 4th and 2, and change their outcomes, the whole game is different. So why does this loss help the team? Obviously, draft position. I've talked about it multiple times on this channel. The draft is all that matters right now. Getting a high pick and getting that quarterback. We moved from 5 to 4 with Cleveland winning and us losing. And when you look at the actual list, we're really number 3. Because the only reason the Giants are at 2 is because they haven't had their bye week yet. Once that all evens out and the Giants have their bye week, at least right now, they'll fall below us and we'll be at 3. This Saints game that we play, the Jaguars game, all these games are so important coming up. There is just the Jets have a gargantuan treasure chest of draft assets where they can pick players or they can package deals to move up and get the quarterback. You guys know who I want. I've talked about it multiple times. I think Mendoza can change so many things for this offense. He's the exact type of quarterback Tanner Engstrand wants and Tanner Engstrand is used to. And this is why you got the picks. That is the biggest reason why the loss helps. And I think the players know it too. Yes, they are playing hard, but they understand the situation. Guys that are here long term, like our 2 tackles, like Tippmann, like Garrett Wilson, like JJ, like McDonald, like Brandon Stevens, who's going to be here for a few years, A.Z. Thomas. I think they're all starting to realize that, or I would hope that they're starting to realize that you're playing for a draft position at this point. And a lot of those guys that I just mentioned are going to be safe. I don't think they're going to be going. Even a good loss helps the team. The fumble by Breece Hall, it was a backbreaker in the game, but it is what was needed at the time in the grand scheme of things. The things that are holding this team back from winning are obviously a quarterback. Tyrod played well, but if you have a better quarterback in there, I think you have obviously a better chance to win the game. Wide receiver, Menchie and Adonai Mitchell need to come along more, and we need another draft selection at wide receiver, in my opinion. There is still a talent gap, especially on defense, and especially at linebacker. I don't know what this Kiko kid is going to be, but he's playing very well. Jamian Sherwood is having a hard time adjusting to this new defensive scheme that Steve Wilks and Aaron Glenn want to run. And Tony Adams just doesn't belong on the team. The only reason why he's playing right now is because Andre Sisco got hurt. So what am I looking for going forward? I want to keep watching Briggs' development. I want to make sure Harrison Phillips keeps stuffing the run. I want to make sure that Tanner Engstrand on the offensive side of the ball is scheming guys open. He's been doing it all season. I just want to keep seeing that. I want to see Tyrod Taylor continue to play because I want to see what these wide receivers and what this offense can do with a competent quarterback. Justin Fields was not, is not, will not be a competent quarterback. Tyrod is. He's a veteran. He's going to lift everyone around him. Not enough, I don't think, to win games, but enough where you can evaluate the players and evaluate Engstrand. I'm going to be obviously paying attention to these games coming up and the draft board. I'm going to be paying attention to how different draft scenarios play out and if the Jets can move up. And I'm very, very going to be keen on paying attention to how Aaron Glenn coaches this team and the game time decisions he's making, because there are still questions as to the game time decisions he's making. I don't, from a game planning standpoint, from a game situational standpoint, I don't know why you went for it on 4th and 2 on your own 40 in the third quarter, and you handed the ball off to, of all people, Isaiah Davis, when your best offensive weapon is on the sideline in Breece Hall. I don't get it from a game perspective. If you really wanted to win that game, that was the wrong call there. You punt the ball away. And if by some chance you still come to the decision that you want to run the ball on 4th and 2, you hand it to Breece Hall every single time. If Aaron Glenn stops making the same mistakes over and over again, and I see progress, I will be happy with it. Let me know what you guys thought of this game. Did you like the competitiveness? Did you like what you saw out of some of these young players? What do you think about the draft? Are you happy with our draft flexibility? Do you think there's reason for hope in 2026 and beyond? If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing, and thank you for watching.